The COVID-19 vaccine rollout is a complicated process, but ultimately all jabs that get approval will be safe. That's the upbeat assessment of the World Health Organization's Special Envoy for COVID-19. Speaking to Euronews, David Nabarro also indicated that China's blocking of an official investigation into the source of the virus is nothing more than a slight slip-up. He was also optimistic that the new variant of the virus could be dealt with.
We have to remember this is all new. This is the first time we've been doing an immunisation campaign against this coronavirus. We have countries that have got very high levels of disease and death rates also on the rise. There are some difficult choices being made. The WHO is offering guidance. It's also, by the way, a very valuable environment in which governments share their experiences. What's happening right now is that we're hearing from countries about their different approaches, and we're trying to provide the best possible facility for comparisons to occur. We're not in a position at the moment to do more than what has been done by the committee that advises on these issues, which is to provide the best practice suggestions, which is 4 to 6 weeks interval is the one that they recommend. That's where they've got to, and I think that's a pretty clear position.
A lot of our focus in the West has been on the Western developed vaccines, but there are vaccines being developed by other countries, namely India, China, Russia. What is the latest on those? Are we going to see those rolled out here in Europe, and how can we guarantee their efficacy and safety?
Well, every vaccine that's under development has to go through a rigorous testing process. It's in 3 phases. Phase 1 is on volunteers, phase 2 is on a population, phase 3 is on multiple populations. In each of these phases, you are testing for whether it works, what's called efficacy. You're testing also for safety, whether or not people get side effects. And you also want to be absolutely certain you can explain those side effects. These phase 3 trials, the third phase of the testing, are particularly important. All vaccines are going through them.
Let's talk about that team that the WHO wants to send to China, still delayed many months. Why is it that China isn't letting you in, and what message have you got to Beijing?
Well, I want to be clear that organising these kinds of visits is not an easy task. And I think everybody would understand it's a hugely sensitive thing. You're bringing in people from all over the world, and the investigation is a joint Chinese international investigation. And there will be occasionally slight slip-ups in terms of the logistics, and that's what's happened here. The investigation of why the visas were not available has been going on. The work is being done to make sure that team arrives. And of course, Dr. Tedros, the Director General of WHO, and other senior WHO Secretariat staff are in regular correspondence with their Chinese colleagues, trying to make certain that this gets remedied as quickly as possible and that the team can get in and go about their work. Yes, you're right, of course, that this has meant an additional delay. But at the same time, I want to say to everybody, whenever you do these kinds of studies, you want to be sure that everybody who's involved is comfortable with the way in which they're being set up. And I'm sure that that work will happen very, very quickly.
I don't know if I would call repeated delays over many months a slight slip-up. When are we going to see the team in there?
No, I think, Oliver, I very rarely contradict interviewers, but there are various things about this. The mission to look at the origins of the virus was requested some months ago. The process of putting together this mission in terms of selecting the personnel, establishing the terms of reference, working out how it's going to be organised, has taken some time. But that's not delays, as you put it. That's the process of fixing up an extremely complicated international investigation. I personally have not used the word delay to describe that process. The only piece of delay has been in the last week or so because of a visa slip-up problem.
So when will they get into the country then?
I don't know. Let's hope that it's soon. What matters here is not so much rushing in. What matters is that everybody works together on trying to work out exactly how this virus jumped into the human species.